In this video, we're going to be reviewing my tactical build out to the Ruger RXM. The Ruger RXM, which I previously reviewed and have links to below, has a number of improvements over the traditional Glock 19, and as I previously pointed out, many of them that I personally like include, for example, the grip refinement, the modular trigger control unit, the stock trigger, etc., the fact that it has co-witnessing metal night sights, etc. So there's a number of features on here that I really liked over the Glock 19, which is why it really sparked my interest when it first came out. Another thing that I really like about the Ruger RXM, especially if you've owned a Glock 19 before, is it works, for example, with all of my previous Glock holsters as well as Glock magazines, whether they be 17 or 19, traditional, etc. And if you've been a former Glock owner, you probably have a lot of holsters and a lot of magazines laying around, so you don't have to upgrade those. You can simply use the existing ones that you previously had. Now, what are some of the things that I added on to this handgun to do my tactical build out? The first thing is the optic sight. In this case, I installed a Holosun HS507C. So this is an open reflex optical sight. And I'm not sure if you can see it well through the camera. I'll kind of move it around a little bit in case you can. And basically what this does is it has a circle with a dot in the middle, and you can get these both in red as well as green. In this case, I have the red sight in here, and it really provides an amazing picture. The other things I like about this, it has up to a 50,000 hour battery life. It also has a solar fail-safe, which is basically a backup power source, which is using natural light on top. So if you're ever worried about, for example, your batteries going down and being able to lose your sights, well, this is a redundancy backup system that's built into here. Another thing I really like about the Holosuns is it has what's called a shake awake on-off feature, and it has a 10-minute default. So basically what this means is if you leave your gun down for about 10 minutes or longer, it will automatically shut off and turn back on the minute it's picked up or shaken awake, if you will. This is something I really like because, you know, many times if you come back from shooting or you put your guns away in the safe, when have we all forgot to turn off our lights, right? Or turn off our optics or things of that nature? This actually does this for you, so it's kind of a nice redundancy feature on there. Another thing I really like about the Holosuns, it has a side-mounted battery tray. So this basically means, unlike a lot of traditional optic sights that you have to remove from the frame each time to change the batteries out, you don't have to do that. It makes very easy replacement. It takes a 1632 battery that fits in this tray right here that you can unscrew with a conventional screwdriver. The housing of this is also a 7075 T6 aluminum, and it comes with 1 MOA on the sight picture. So again, a really fantastic optic. I know there's a lot of great optics out here today. I just wanted to share the one that I really like the most and the one that I wanted to put on my build out for my Ruger RXM. The second feature I put on here is my Streamlight TLR7A. And basically what this does, a couple things about the TLR7A. It's a little bit smaller, for example, than the traditional TLR1s. So these were the old TLR1s that we used to mount. And when you look at them side by side, it just fits a lot better on the gun. And not only is it shorter, it's not nearly as wide. It only uses one CR123A battery as opposed to two. But again, you get that compact size, so it's more flush with the frame of the gun. With the front of it, you can see it just fits a lot better than the TLR1s, which I still use on my tactical rifles, etc., but I don't want to use that on my handgun. Another thing about this is with the CR123A batteries that are usually in common use, so I usually have a lot of these laying around. It's very easy to change these. All you have to do is unscrew the cap to the light, and then you can change the batteries in and out. And the batteries typically have about 1.5 hours of battery life, so they're very easy to replace, especially out of the front cap. The light also comes in around 500 lumens, so basically the effective range for this light is around 140 meters, give or take. It also has a ambi paddle switches, which I really like as well, which in this case, for example, I can activate both with my trigger finger or my support finger, etc. So it gives me a lot of options, makes it very easy and convenient to operate right through the trigger housing. The colors for this also comes in black, which you see here, as well as flat dark earth. So if you have an FDE gun, you want everything to match out, you can get those as well. And again, as I mentioned before, one of the reasons why I really like it is it's considerably smaller than the TLR1, but does exactly what I need it to do on a handgun. The third upgrade I made on the gun, which is pretty obvious from looking at this, is the introduction of the Silencer Co. threaded barrels. So basically this is a 4.5-inch length barrel. So basically what it is effectively is the same length as a Glock 17 barrel without having the full length of the slide. So you can see side by side it comes in around 4.5 inches. The thread pattern on here is also a 1/2 by 28, which is very common for 9mm. And then the other thing about this is it allows me to then run my rugged suppressor or any other type of suppressor on here simply by unscrewing it, putting that on. The other little trick is if you want to keep your suppressor without it walking out, or with your caps without them walking out, is get some of this Teflon plumber's tape and wrap it twice around there and then screw it on. And that typically will hold this in place. So whether or not you use a suppressor or not, some people will even put compensators on here, or some people just like the added length of the barrel because you get the added ballistics of the length of a traditional Glock 17 barrel. Again, use the Teflon tape around here on the threads and it'll keep that from walking out when you're firing it. So when you look at the two in comparison, as I mentioned before, I had the Glock 17. This is my old duty pistol right here compared to it side by side. You can see some of the differences between the two. Of course, it's a little bit comparing apples and oranges, but I did want to show just a couple quick things on here. So fully unloaded, a Glock 17, mine comes in at 1 pound, 6.5 ounces. Fully unloaded here, Buildout comes in 9.5. So basically I'm 3 ounces heavier with the additions that I put on here. Now if I want to have this fully loaded, it comes in around 2 pounds 3 ounces. So basically you've got about a 2-pound gun fully loaded when you're carrying this out, etc. Now the extra 3 ounces are attributable to the light as well as the optic system. Otherwise a fully loaded Glock 19, it typically comes in around 2 pounds. So it's only 3 ounces more, and you really get a lot more features and capability between the lighting, the barrel, as well as the optic system. So basically on this entire build out, when I add in the price of the Ruger RXM base, the Holosun, the Streamlight, and the Silencer Co. barrel, I basically have about $1,000 into this tactical build out. So the entire gun has about $1,000 into it. Like I mentioned before, it has the same ballistics as a Glock 17 now, with more of a compact size, and it's really quickly become one of my favorite tactical handguns to shoot. Ever since the RXM came out, this is what I wanted to become, and now it has literally become one of my favorite handguns that I shoot on a regular basis. So I just want to give you a quick review of the build out for my tactical RXM and show you all the features and the reasons why I put certain things on here and why I really like this gun. And when you take a look at it, you can see why. The size, the fit, the balance, everything is just perfect for me, at least, on here. And again, this is when Ruger came out with the RXM. It reintroduced me back to the Glock 19, where I finally wanted to do a build out that I otherwise wouldn't have done on the traditional Glocks. That's my review. If you like this review or like this channel, please subscribe. And if you have any comments about your build out or experience with a similar type of build out with the RXM, please leave it in the comment sections below. Thank you.